Welcome to Strategize Your Business Online, designed for entrepreneurs like yourself who are looking for a dose of business inspo and, of course, ideas to grow your business in the online space. My name is Dee Boswell-Buck, and I am the digital marketing strategist behind Boswell-Buck Creative Consulting. And what we do is we help you to connect with your target audience in the online space. Today's topic is going to be the mindset shift, finding your power and purpose. And that being said, I am going to give a formal introduction to my guest, Natacha Pennycooke. Natacha Pennycooke is a mom, wife, and lover of popcorn, but she is also an award-winning psychotherapist, mindset shift coach, keynote speaker, workshop facilitator, and corporate consultant, and the CEO of Natacha Pennycooke Psychotherapy. NPP is a private group practice of therapists who help people struggling with fear and self-doubt from trauma, anxiety, and depression, and who have been historically racialized and marginalized in their quest for success to heal, thrive, and live their very best life. Her therapy services are guided from an anti-oppressive, healing-focused, trauma-informed anti-racism lens and racial justice framework to support the mental health needs of individuals, couples, families, and youth 16 and over. And as a mindset shift coach, Natacha believes that understanding the power of the mind is key to unlocking and unblocking our greatest potential. Natacha helps professionals shift their mindset away from internalized limiting beliefs and into their power and purpose to create the thriving life they want. Natacha Pennycooke, thank you for being here and welcome to Strategize Your Business Online.
Thank you, Dee, and hello. Good afternoon, everyone. Dee, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited for this conversation today.
I'm excited that you said yes, Natacha.
Of course.
Yeah, and on that note, I would love, Natacha, if you could, tell me more about yourself and let me know about your journey, how you got here.
Yeah, what a great question. So, as you said everything so beautifully, Dee. I am Natacha Pennycooke. I am the CEO of Natacha Pennycooke Psychotherapy. I have a group private practice of excellent practitioners, mental health practitioners, psychotherapists who are working with various communities to be able to help them or help all of us really to navigate the world that we're living in right now. So whether it is from the fear, the worry, the trauma, the anxiety, those feelings of imposterism, all of that. So my team is working with excellent people all around Ontario. So I guess a little bit about myself, how I got into this journey. I've been a psychotherapist for totally dating myself for about 13 years now. Had to check the date there. So for 13 years, I've been a psychotherapist. All my education is in psychology. So I have undergraduate degree and a graduate degree in psychology. So interesting enough, when I graduated, I thought it was, going to be easy. A lot of people probably resonate with this. I'm going to go and find my dream job. I just graduated. I'm going to find my dream job. I'm going to be so excited to do this work and to work with people and to help people. As a trauma therapist, I've worked in many different places with various kinds of trauma. So whether it's in emergency rooms with people who have been assaulted or, first degree offenders who are going through the criminal justice system, I've worked with the gamut of individuals going through various traumas. So, I really wanted to get more into doing the trauma work. And I thought I had found the place that was excellent, that I was working with racialized individuals, working with various communities, doing the work, doing the good work, as I mentioned, right? The mental health work. And, being at this organization, what I recognized is that not only were individuals coming in with a lot of different and various mental health concerns, but also myself as one of the staff going through my own mental health challenges, being at work, not feeling seen or heard in the workplace. Workplace ended up being more of a toxic workplace environment for myself and for different colleagues. So, when I got out of that space that I was working in, of course, I had a lot of hurt, a lot of disappointment where, working in a toxic workplace culture that can do to a lot of us. So I got to a place where I was like, you know what? I'm tired of looking for my dream job. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to create my dream job. So that's how I really got into being an entrepreneur, by going through a really hard experience, saying, nope, that's it. I'm creating my own dream job. And now this is where we are.
That is amazing. I have many
Yes.
questions for you, but
Yes.
when did you know that you wanted to be in this field?
Yeah. You know what? I've always known, I've always enjoyed working with people and helping people. And, as myself, as a really deep thinker, I've always been able to see different pieces and lenses of what people were coming with and being able to connect these dots. So I really recognized wanting to do this work early on. So before undergrad, so probably around like 20, right? That I wanted to do this work, go into psychology, go into psychotherapy, and really do the work of helping people to unlock and unblock different patterns of behaviors that they may have, to really understand. Because what I recognize is that, we as people, we are impacted by our world, our communities, our families, our neighborhoods, that the relational aspect that we have with various people has such a big element on who we are and how we navigate spaces and how we walk in the world. And what I recognized really early on, that our culture, our language, and our community areas have an impact on who we are and how we see things. People come with their various intersectionalities and perspectives. And what I, at an early age, recognized, probably in my early 20s, recognized that all of these different experiences really laid the foundation for who a person is. And I was always intrigued by that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I just want to take a moment for anybody who's watching, whether they're watching live or they're watching the replay. And, the topic, I'm here with Natacha Pennycooke, and she's from Natacha Pennycooke Psychotherapy. And the topic that we're talking about, or we're going to be leading into, is the mindset shift, finding your power and purpose.
Yes.
And she just finished speaking about her journey. So Natacha, we're talking about mindset, and I'm curious to know, like, who is it that you work with as you help people through their mindset?
Yeah. So what I recognize for a lot of us, especially high achieving folks, individuals who may have recognized that, I've gone through this idea of perfectionism and I really want to go up and forward and I want to really hone in on my skills. So what I see a lot of is individuals wanting to do these big things and wanting to find a purpose and find their passion, but there's things that keep us stuck, right? There are things that keep us as people stuck. And what I really do with individuals is trying to get people to understand, what is that thing keeping us stuck? What is the thing that's keeping you stuck? As I say that, you probably are there thinking, yeah, what is it that's keeping me stuck, right? What is it? You're thinking the same thing, right, Dee? And I know a lot of you out there are thinking the same thing. What is it that's keeping me stuck? So really working with individuals who are high achieving folks, individuals who may have felt that they have been racialized or marginalized in other areas of their life, but who are very passionate and wanting to move forward, but recognizing that I have these things that are keeping me stuck, that are limiting from reaching my greatest potential, whether these are limiting beliefs that you have of yourself or limiting beliefs that you have internalized from the world around you. As I spoke about before, recognizing that our relationships that we have with various peoples and individuals are really big on how we see ourselves, but starting to recognize, like, are some of those ways that I see myself, are they actually me, or did I pick them up from other places in the world? And how is that now limiting me from finding my purpose and my passion, doing these big things that I know I'm meant to be and to do?
I have a question, Natacha.
Yes.
How do you describe what a high achiever is?
Oh, that's a great question. I would say a high achiever is one of those individuals, as probably you and I are, Dee, that, there are things that are done, but it doesn't sometimes feel like enough. It feels like I'm doing these big things. And from the outside, a lot of people are like, yeah, you're doing all these great big things. But inside, it's this feeling of, great, this is great. And I know I can do more. And I know I want to do more. And I know that other people are seeing me do all these fantastic, amazing things. And I am doing those and I can do more. And there's something that's not allowing me to go to that next step, the next hurdle. A lot of high achievers feel senses of overwhelm because there's this want to do more. There might be these feelings, again, these limiting thoughts of not being enough, wanting to do more and enough. And it's really about understanding that, I guess, that like intersectional point where individuals who are high achievers that are feeling like, I'm doing all these great things and I want more. There's this piece of fulfillment that might not totally be there.
Right. And, it's really great that we're speaking about this because, this talk is geared more to those who are business owners, entrepreneurs, and that sense of that high achieving sense is applied to many people, but it
Yes.
really hits home for those who are business owners.
Yes. Those who are business owners, entrepreneurs, those who might be working the way also up the corporate ladder. So whether management director, going into various C-suite conversations and in leadership, you may resonate with what we're talking about as being that high achiever.
Right. So when it comes to feeling stuck, because I hear that term often.
Yes.
And then, sometimes and I think you touched on this, and I think about when I feel stuck.
Yes.
And I think sometimes when it comes to that term of feeling stuck, you don't even know, again, you don't know what's making you feel stuck. You literally do not know what to do. You don't know how it is you should work things out. And my question to you is, what is the mindset of someone when they think to themselves, I am stuck and I just cannot solve this on my own? I'm going to reach out to Natacha Pennycooke.
Yes. So a lot of times individuals get to a place of, I am stuck, as you mentioned, Dee. I am stuck. And a lot of times those feelings feels like a barrier, right? I just wanted to pause for a second to be able to really recognize it feels like a barrier. It feels like something is keeping me there and I can't move forward. I can't move backward. I can't move to the side. And a lot of times there's confusion around what that can be. Because, especially with high achievers, we're really good at problem solving. We're really good at finding those next steps. And a lot of times we are these fixers and these helpers. But sometimes it's how do I fix and help myself? So it feels like this barrier that you're continuously hitting up against while knowing that you need to get to that other side, but that barrier's in the way. So whether it is not able to move, maybe it's those feelings like, oh, I'm not doing enough. Maybe it's those feelings of overwhelm that keeps you dug in. And maybe there's fear there. Maybe there's fear that's keeping you in that place. Maybe it's these ideas and these thoughts that I need to move forward, but I'm terrified. I'm scared. It seems really dangerous and I'm afraid to make that step.
Yeah. Okay. So I see somebody just chimed in. Good afternoon, everyone and all. So good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I just want to say that, would you be able to pop your name in the chat? Because for some reason, StreamYard is not letting me see your LinkedIn profile, but I appreciate you joining in with us. Now, Natacha, another thing that I'd like to ask you is that, when it comes to reaching out to, a therapist, a psychotherapist, somebody to help us through improve our mindset shift. There's a lot of myths that come into play.
Yes.
Right. And I'm quite certain that a lot of people are thinking that I want to reach out, but so what are some of those myths that come into play?
Yeah, some of those myths that jump off of the butt. I want to reach out, but how will people see me? Will I be labeled as crazy, right? We get that a lot. Will I be understood? Will I be seen? Will I be heard? Is it taboo to go and work with someone, whether it is as a therapist or a coach? Is it taboo to work with someone? Shouldn't I be able to figure this out on my own? Get that a lot. Is
Mm,
this counter to my culture? Is this counter to my religion? Is this counter to what my family has always done? These are some of the big things that are barriers for a lot of individuals. We also have people who come in to say, you know what, I tried therapy before, or I've worked with a coach before and it didn't go well. It didn't
mhm,
work. Right. We get a lot of people who come in with that lens. And I think the most important thing for anyone, whether you're looking for a coach, whether you're looking for a therapist, is finding someone who's a good fit for you. Now, it's not everyone who is a good fit for everyone, but really doing your due diligence of looking, what are the things that I need help with? I'm looking for, whether it's a therapist, I'm looking for help with anxiety, help to unpack some of the childhood stuff that I've holding on to. Maybe as you're looking for a coach, I'm looking for someone who understands what a mindset shift is, what that will look like, someone who is geared towards the goals that I want to work with. So really doing your due diligence and looking for someone that's a good fit. A lot of times we've been raised with the idea of, this other person might be the professional, so they know best. But don't forget, you are the professional of you. Even if these feelings of feeling stuck come up, you're the person who's in that, who can be able to describe what that's like. I am feeling stuck because I can't move forward, or I want to do these amazing things within my career, within my business, but I can't seem to get the help with staying focused or staying productive or staying consistent,
mhm.
right? So being able to navigate from that road and that lens.
So quite a few of those questions came from like, I am looking for, and do you do this? Are we allowed to ask somebody like, what are your credentials? And what would be a good question for that? And the person who said good afternoon is Christopher Lawrence. And I
Okay. Hi,
see that
Christopher.
Natalie Amlani is online as well.
Yes, hello everyone. So, you are allowed, you have permission to ask questions, okay? When you're going for looking for a therapist, looking for a coach, when you're doing those discovery calls, you're allowed to ask questions. You're allowed to get asked the credentials. You're allowed to ask, the things that you are looking for. What's important for you? Right? I myself, I'm a therapist. I'm a coach, and I have my own therapist and I have my own coach. And I think it's really important that there's alignment. So for myself, looking for a therapist is really important that someone understood my Caribbean heritage and background. Right. So that was something for myself that's important. So I think anyone out there looking for a therapist or coach, looking for someone that aligns with some of the intersectionalities that you may have. Right. So if you're struggling with anxiety from childhood traumas, for example, it's okay to ask, what is your experience working with anxiety? What is your approach to anxiety? Um, how do you understand how anxiety may impact a person? Right? These are all great questions that you're allowed to ask.
Right.
Yeah.
So when in terms of the mindset shift
Yes.
coaching, like what are some of the challenges that you address?
Yeah. So some of the big challenges are these barriers and the limiting beliefs to take action. So, like we were talking about before, Dee, about that being stuck,
Mhm.
a lot of times there's a barrier. So, it's really about understanding, what are these barriers? As a coach, that's my job, to help someone to understand what are the barriers that are keeping you stuck. Because a lot of times it feels like being stuck is like a shackle, like keeping
Mhm.
you there. But a lot of times these are barriers that can be maneuvered and navigated, obstacles that you can climb over, under, or around. So, really getting someone to understand, what are these barriers and how are you thinking about them? I think that's the most important. When we see obstacles or barriers, what do we often do? Do we freeze? Do we give into them? So really understanding how a person is seeing and thinking about these barriers and feeling about these barriers. Some of the other things, as I said, taking action. It's the taking action, but before that, really understanding, what are why those barriers are there and why you think about them in these certain ways. Why is your mindset shifted towards seeing these barriers in a negative light as opposed to seeing them, okay, this is a barrier, but how am I going to look for the positives here to get around it? So really that understanding, getting the mind to understand and to shift in a way that's geared towards positive and action oriented as opposed to more stuck in the fear of the barrier.
Right. Would imposter syndrome be a type of barrier?
Imposter syndrome can be a barrier. And I
Mhm.
think to go a little bit more specific, the elements of feeling like a fraud that comes within imposter syndrome are the barriers. Why is it that you see yourself as a fraud? Is it that you don't see yourself represented in that industry? Or is it that you don't see any entrepreneurs that look like you or speak like you? Really understanding what are the feelings of fraud that comes along with that imposter syndrome. You know, a lot of times with imposter syndrome, from the lens that I look at imposter syndrome, I look at it as, you know, whenever we're really excited about something, we get nervous. It's understandable to be nervous because it's a place, an avenue that we haven't discovered as yet within ourselves. And sometimes going to that next level, we're looking for the representation that's already there, but we may not see it, right? We may not see it. So, because there's those areas that we may not see ourselves represented there, a lot of times we may not think of ourselves as allowed to be there. And that's where, again, that mindset shift. Why are you thinking that you're not allowed? Of course, you may not see yourself represented there, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you're not allowed to take up space in that area, in that arena.
Would you be able to give me a little bit of insight? Like, say, what would be
Yes.
one tool to get
Yes.
over that imposter syndrome, where, for
Yes.
instance, you don't see that you're represented, so you don't
Mhm.
know if you should be there? Could you
Mhm.
share like a tip for that?
Yes, for sure. So not seeing yourself represented and wondering how to get into that space is one of the things is finding community. Community is so important. Finding other people, right? Such as this platform today, we're having these conversations, finding different platforms that are having the conversations of the areas that you want to go. Another tip is not giving into the limiting of yourself. Just because you're not seeing yourself there doesn't mean that you don't belong there. So really getting to the space of, okay, I do belong there. And there are people in those avenues. I might have to do a little bit of digging. So that tip is really finding your community, finding your niche, finding the people who are also resonating with you. It's going to take a little bit of digging, and it's going to take you doing a lot of the self-talk. This is why I love the affirmations, being
Mm.
able to affirm that you belong. So those affirmations like, I matter, I'm enough, I'm allowed to take up space. That is such a powerful one. So these are some tips that you can use to help your mindset to be able to navigate some of those spaces.
I love that idea, and I'm just gonna like share a little bit about me here,
Yes.
where it was the end of 2022. And I'm like, the
Mhm.
goal that I'm going to have January 2023, I am going to do these LinkedIn lives
Yes.
and I'm going to do them. Okay, I'll do them later. Oh, I don't know what are people going to say.
Yes.
I'm here today, but like I said, it was supposed to start in January, and I finally got it going in
Yes.
May.
Mhm.
And one of the things that I say, like I look in the mirror in
Mhm.
the morning, and it's
Mhm.
like, I'm going to take up space on LinkedIn.
I'm going to take up
What I
space.
say matters, or
Yes.
the live today, it's going to be engaging, and it's actually information that's going to help a lot of people. So I say those
Right.
words to myself.
Yes.
These
Yes.
are affirmations.
I love those because you're affirming yourself,
Yeah.
affirming that yourself that you belong there. And, sometimes you may do exactly that, Dee, like you mentioned, where you set the goal for yourself for January, and then, February, March comes along. And that's where a lot of times people feel that's where their mindset takes over, where it's like, no, I'm gonna crouch down. I'm
I'm
not
too
supposed to be
late.
here. I'm too late. I didn't do it. But just how you set the goal for yourself, you can shift that goal.
Yeah.
You can shift that goal. So that's another tip. If there's a goal that you set that you don't execute at that time and that date, you can shift it. As long as you're not taking up that idea that, oh my gosh, I didn't make the January 1st deadline, therefore I'm not good enough, I'm a failure. Those are those fear-based mindsets.
Right.
So the shift would be, okay, I didn't make that goal, but I was working towards it. So let me continue working towards it. And I'm going to shift it to May 1st. And I'm going to continue working towards that goal, right? Any goal that we have, there's a whole bunch of action items needed to execute that goal. And if we stay within that fear-based mindset, we're never going to tick off those action items. If we continue with that process and the progress of, okay, I didn't make January 1st. However, these are the things that I did do to get towards there. So I'm going to move my goal a little bit and continue on the process of getting there.
Love it. Giving us a bit of grace.
Yes.
Yeah.
Grace and space.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we did quite a bit of promoting about this live,
Yes.
And on Instagram, we promoted it as well, anywhere where it could be found.
Yes.
And I saw that Natalie, who is on the live today, she shared a question, and I was like, thank you, Natalie. Like,
yeah, great question.
Always so grateful for the likes and the, the emotions of the, the emojis, and people saying like, way to go, I can't wait. And yeah, Natalie shared a question on Instagram, and I have it here. And the question is, how to spark motivation. So Natalie is a photographer, by the way. So she's an entrepreneur. She's a brand photographer for Pictonat brand photography. And her question is, how to spark motivation during the summer while the kids are off scheduled and not in school?
Yes, I think this is a great question, Natalie. Thank you for dropping that in. So summertime for a lot of people in different fields as different entrepreneurs seems to be that quieter time within the business, right? Where you may not be working so much in the business, but it may be a great time to work on the business. So I think that if the motivation is not there, start looking at the goals. What are some of the goals? What are some of the goals that, again, what are some of the goals and what are the action items for these goals? And it may be that, as high achievers, we put a lot of things on our to-do list, right? Guilty, right? We put a lot of things on our to-do list, but part of the giving yourself grace and shifting your mindset is looking at the to-do list, but also looking at your life. The kids are home, people are going on vacations and having barbecues. So maybe this is a time where instead of the 10 things on your to-do list, maybe there's 5, and you're very, very clear about what the action items are for these 5 things so that you can gain the motivation to do these 5 things. Sometimes we lose motivation when we have a really big to-do list and we don't see ourselves checking them off. What happens is what happens in our mind is that we don't check them off. So what we internalize is, oh my gosh, I didn't do it, therefore I'm a failure, right? We make these quick links to one another when they're not really linked at all. It doesn't mean because you're lacking the motivation and you didn't tick off the things on your to-do list that you're a failure. It means that things got busy and we need to shift a little bit what those goals are. So looking at what your goal list is, because you mentioned that the motivation is not there. So what are the things that you're not motivated to do? And what is it a really great time to do working on your business right now? Right? There may be 5 things that you want to really execute this summer for a launch in September when things start getting busy again. So what are these 5 things? So I'll put that out there, Natalie. Identify what those 5 things are. What are the action items on those 5 things? And over the course of the next, what do we have? About 8 weeks, maybe 7 weeks now, right? Right? What are those things that you can start doing each week? Right? What are the things that you can start doing each week where it feels a bit more manageable? So you're not getting overwhelmed or down on yourself or feeling like, oh my gosh, I didn't do it, I'm not motivated. So what are the 5 things that you can be motivated to do to work on? And I think that if we make those shifts where we're not having this laundry list and looking at it like, oh, I didn't get those done, where it's like, okay, it's shorter, it's more doable. Now I can get my motivation ramped up again to be able to do these action items.
Yeah, and speaking to what Natalie was mentioning
Mhm.
about the kids, so I have my daughter,
Yep.
and so now she's in summer camp.
Mhm.
And the first week of July, I felt very tired. I mean, she's only
Yes.
out of school for like 3 days, including the weekend and the statutory holiday.
Mhm.
But yes, the first day at camp, I found it to be a struggle.
Yeah.
And I decided, like 5 years in, I'm going to lean into why I started this business.
Mhm.
I don't have to start at 8. I don't have to start at
Yes.
9. So I
Yes.
have an amazing social media coordinator. Her name is Denise. And
Mhm.
we usually touch base at 9 o'clock, which is the drop
Mhm.
off time now.
Mhm.
And I decided to call her and I said, you know what? What is it that I need to do, Denise, so that you could be set up for success and you
Yes.
can call me after 10. So
Right.
that way I'm not feeling stressed out about what time I start. And also as a
Mhm.
business owner, I don't have to start first thing in the morning. I can do pockets here and there. So
Mhm.
that was one of the things because summer is like so blessed that we get to go through 4 seasons.
Yeah.
But yes, the schedule is definitely a little bit off in the summer.
Yeah. Yeah. I think another thing to piggyback off of that is it's summertime. Is it that you need to be resting, right? Looking at the different types of rest. Is
Mhm.
it that you need more social rest, more family time rest? Maybe it's taking a little bit of understanding that, okay, I have these things that I need to do that I'm not feeling motivated to. But what is my mind and my body telling me? Do I need maybe to take a little bit of a rest? Do I need to reconnect with nature, with family, with friends, right? And being able to say that, I can shift things around. I think that every season, something that I recognize for myself and in my business, probably every season, every quarter, I need to go back and look how I'm organizing my schedule. Whereas something that was a great phone call at 9 o'clock may not work at 9 o'clock anymore. Maybe it works better at 9:15 or 9:30. Or maybe it's no longer a Zoom call at 9, but a phone call at 9. Right. So starting to figure out like in this season of time, but also based on where I am and my family and my own mindset, what is going to work better for me right now? So I am setting myself up for success.
Yeah. Awesome. So I see a question here on
Yeah.
LinkedIn Live, and the question is, when should someone look into therapy versus coaching? Think
Yes.
versus mindset shift coaching.
Yes. This is a great question. Again, thank you for that. So I think about it this way. Therapy is really the unpacking, unearthing of hurt from past events. So whether it's things from your childhood or maybe it was a recent breakup, and really unpacking all of those things where you might feel like these things, there's so much hurt from it and you haven't been able to tackle what's been happening in your present life because you've been on survival mode from this hurt. That's what I feel for you, for everyone listening. That is kind of like a professional where this is for therapy. Now, the coaching, mindset coaching, is recognizing there are things in my present that I may not be doing that totally aligns with where I need to be in my future. Okay. So coaching really is where am I right now and how am I getting to these next steps, these next future steps, where it's very action oriented to the present going into the future. Therapy is a lot of past oriented, where there are things from my past that's hindering my present, but I need to go back and work on the things from the past, the hurt, the grief, the loss, the sadness, pieces of myself that I'm not recognizing from the past to pull them into the present. And the coaching is really present into future.
I love it. I'm
Yeah.
going to be watching my replay of this replay. Natasha, if you could
Yeah.
tell me about your mindset shift coaching program.
Yes, yes. Thank you for that, Dee. So, Mindset Shift Coaching with me, it's a VIP opportunity to work with me for 16 weeks. So, for 16 weeks, you get me to walk alongside you one on one to really unblock the barriers, heal what needs to be healed, and to really help you to build a thriving life that you want. So, we do this in different steps. We look at some of the barriers, such as those life expectations that have you thinking a certain way and feeling a certain way. We go into understanding how your your current mindset is shaping your identity and moving you maybe towards or away from your goals. We heal by unpacking what these experiences and these thoughts have on you. And then we really take action. We build up this new mindset, this mindset that's geared towards action and shifting towards your current goals, so we could align yourself with these goals. So helping you find the motivation and helping you with the action steps to make sure that these goals get ticked off. So ultimately, so that you can thrive and so you can overcome and so you could really be the best self that you can be. So with this 16-week program, again, I'm walking beside you. We're having one-on-one Zoom calls bi-weekly, and then you have access to me in between our sessions.
I love it. And, keywords that stand out are like thrive and align, because yes, especially in my field as a business owner, or whether you're in corporate or any aspects of your life, yes, things might feel a little bit sticky, a little bit uncomfortable, but you need that help to move through. Yes. And I like the fact that, what it is that's being worked on is aligned. So it's something that, you feel comfortable getting through. You just need that help. Yes. And you're going to like where you end up.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. Yeah. That's exactly it.
Yeah. So before we wrap up, I have I do digital marketing. So I need to ask all my guests, which social media platforms do you focus on for your business, and which ones do you like more? Which ones do you have more fun on?
Oh, that's a great question. So for my business, LinkedIn has been the space and the avenue where more of my high ticket clients have come from. So individuals who have reached out to me for closing keynotes have been from LinkedIn. Individuals who have reached out to me to come in and build a mental health strategy for their team have been on LinkedIn. And of course, individuals for mindset coaching have come from LinkedIn. And I think, avenues to have fun on, I do like Facebook because they have groups, right? Facebook groups, you can go into groups and have these conversations and see where people are at, what people are doing. And of course, there's Instagram with all of the reels and all of the pictures. So definitely I'm across all platforms, but these are the top ones that I'm on: LinkedIn, Facebook, as well as Instagram, that I enjoy.
Are you thinking about Threads?
So, okay, I knew you were going to throw that in there. So Threads, this new Threads, and of course, when this came out, what was it, Monday? It was last week,
Wednesday-ish.
Something. As soon as I saw that, I reached out, Dee, what is this? Should I get on this? Are people doing this? So I am on Threads as well. Of course, right now, what I'm loving hearing from people are like, it's a free-for-all. Pick whatever you want there, because it hasn't really built itself up just yet, at least from my perspective. So people are putting a whole bunch of things. So yes, I'm on Threads as well, navigating that new landscape and seeing what's going on there. I'm really excited to see what turns up.
Yeah. And my thing is that I always tell people that you don't have to be everywhere. However, I do recommend that you secure your name. At least secure a name, go on private, and then you can decide what you want to do later or not do anything at all. But, secure your name for sure. Yeah. And last but not least, what would you say would be, well, I think you kind of answered, but if you could do one quick top lesson or feeling that your clients walk away with after working with you, Natacha?
What a great question. Again, really, it's been safe, seen, and trust, where clients have been able to walk away with, now they have the tools to trust themselves to move forward.
Nice.
Yeah.
And Natacha, how can people find out more about you?
Yeah, so you can go on all social platforms, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, Threads at natashapennycooke.therapy. You could also go to our website, which is Natacha Pennycooke, so Natasha with a C, natashapennycooke.com, and you have information there on our mindset coaching, on my mindset coaching, where you get to work with me one-on-one, and also you see my fabulous therapy team.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Last question, I promise you, because we led in with that you love popcorn.
I do. Oh my gosh.
So like just butter popcorn or just popcorn?
You know what I really like? The Chicago mix, where it's sweet and spicy and salty. So yes, for those popcorn connoisseurs out there, there is something Chicago mix where it's sweet, salty. Oh, Chicago mix with peanuts in there. Oh my gosh.
Oh, okay.
Delicious.
Your expression, I'm gonna go along with it. Well, Natacha, thank you so much for saying yes to being a
Of
guest here
course.
on Strategize Your Business Online. I'm a big believer in repurposing, so this is going to end up on my website. Everyone, you will see it on my YouTube channel at Dee Boswell-Buck, and you can look for it like some snippets in the stories on Instagram and on Facebook, and a bit of a replay here on LinkedIn as well. So thanks again, Natacha.
Thank you, Dee, for having me. This was a great conversation, and definitely looking forward to doing this again.
Awesome. Take care, everybody.
Bye.